And now, an important information update for RPGaDay 2020. Brought to you by RPGaDay 2020. At time of recording, it's July 16th, which means we've just passed or are passing through that midway point in a month with 31 days. So that means there's only 2 weeks left until RPGaDay 2020, RPGaDay 2020, the year of vision, begins. Well, at the beginning of July, Dave released the traditional infographic that contains all the prompts for RPGaDay 2020 for August. And just like last year, that works by following through the sequence, because all the hexes are numbered, or by devising your own random method of navigation through the hexes, or by doing a drop dice methodology to see where you wind up and where that takes you. It doesn't really matter how you navigate through everything, just as long as you are tagging everything hashtag RPGaDay 2020. Now, usually we have a high contrast map for people who have difficulty seeing the standard one, and to have a little bit of fun with that one rather than just making it a gray and black and white version. This time, it's a map of a complex. It might be a dungeon. It might be an ancient temple. It might be a space base on an unknown, hitherto unexplored world. It doesn't really matter. But it is a map, a grid map for navigation through numbered rooms that are keyed to the same list of prompts. So that means that there are choices to make as you navigate. Some sections will be linear. You go from 1 to 2 to 3, but then you might have an opportunity to go in a different direction and take things in different order. You may find you're even moving backward through the lists, or needing to retrace your steps, or any one of whatever outcomes works for you and entertains you as we go through this month of celebrating all the cool stuff that role-playing games are. But there is one more thing that this map version of the infographic can do. Now, when Dave and I were talking about RPGaDay this year and what we might be able to do to give it a little twist or tweak or a little thing to keep motivation up, we were talking about the perspective of games from a game master's chair, or from the point of view of the person who's introducing the games or explaining the games or teaching the games, or however it is that your group works. There's usually someone who says, hey, let's play this, and they end up in a position almost of ownership over that initial pitch or push toward the group exploring the game and deciding to play. So gaming from that person's perspective looks a certain way. But when you're on the other side of that equation, when you're the person receiving the pitch, and you go, yeah, that game sounds pretty cool, and you prepare a character and you play that character in that game, the perspective is also a little different. So we were talking about that, and how the prompts could look differently from the person who puts something into a situation for characters to react to or deal with, interact with, versus the perspective of someone who encounters the thing and then has to interact with it, or gets to interact with it. So that's kind of cool. So think about that in conjunction with the map. What if, as you're going through the prompts for RPGaDay, what if you took it like an exploration of a complex? If you took it as discovery of secrets, and if, from the game master perspective, you described the process of putting things in motion. For example, prompt number 1 is beginning. Right? So this is the first room of the dungeon, the complex, the abandoned hospital, or whatever. Right? What does beginning mean to you from that context? And you could go through all 31 prompts, planning or prepping that experience with the who's, what's, when's, where's, why's, and how's of your process, celebrating your process, explaining, sharing, and making your process visible for people. Likewise, from the player perspective, you could share memories of beginnings, share memories of levers, or whatever the prompt happens to be. Stack is another one. I came across a stack of, and how did you react to it, and why did you react that way, and what made it relevant and interesting? Why is it a memory you want to share? That sort of stuff. So there's a lot of ways to approach going through the prompts this year. And I hope you enjoy both the variety and the opportunity to be positive and share all the things that you enjoy about role-playing games and all the interactions which come as a result. So RPGaDay 2020 starts on August 1st at midnight of whatever time zone you happen to be in. And it ends on August 31st at midnight of whatever time zone you happen to be in. Put the hashtag to your responses, whatever they are: tweets, Facebook posts, YouTube videos, blog posts, art pieces that you're sharing wherever it is that you share your art, etc., etc. Hashtag it RPGaDay 2020, and let's have another great event this year. I look forward to seeing your responses.